The Prime Minister at that news conference, Andrew, and both at the news conference and in the Parliament, the PM did not take the bait. I thought he got his tone 100% right today in terms of that reassuring message, the one about saying, look, I'm not worrying about whose fault and blame. It's a much more reassuring leadership type of message, and he got the tone right.
Oh, I thought it was the best performance by Scott Morrison in the Parliament for weeks, because what this country needs during a pandemic is a statesman, not a street brawler. And Kieran's right in using the term doesn't take the bait. He doesn't need to take the bait from Anthony Albanese. He doesn't need to take the bait from a hard question from me, for example. If he acted like that every day, he'd be in a lot better position, Scott Morrison. Here we'll view a number of opposition questions, starting with Richard Marles, going to Morrison on some of these contentious issues for the feds on the pandemic and Victoria. This is aged care.
Is the Prime Minister aware there are 237 aged care facilities in my state where residents have not been fully vaccinated, and 29 facilities where residents have not even received their first dose? This morning, the Aged Care Minister said he was, and I quote, very comfortable with the vaccine rollout. How can the government be comfortable with older Australians being left so vulnerable?
The Prime Minister has the call.
It's the Minister for Health and Aged Care to add to my answer, but the figures that the member referred to in his question, Mr Speaker, are not current, and I'll allow the Minister for Aged Care and Health to update you on those figures, Mr Speaker. But what I do know is this. In Victoria today, more than 50% of those aged over 70, Mr Speaker, have been vaccinated. Over 50% of Victorians, Mr Speaker, aged over 70 have been vaccinated, Mr Speaker, had that dose. And Mr Speaker, that is important. That is an important difference as we go into this challenge and what we've faced in previous challenges.
Greens leader Adam Bandt getting stuck into Scott Morrison here over the vaccine. Bandt's a Victorian. Again, Scott Morrison calm in addressing what was quite an angry question.
In my electorate of Melbourne, shoulders are slumped and hearts are heavy as we face yet another lockdown. But we're angry too. You said you put the National Cabinet on war footing. So why isn't there strong national quarantine which may have stopped the latest outbreak? And the US has managed to fully vaccinate 50% of its adult population, so why can't you even break 5%? This is a Morrison government lockdown in Victoria.
His next 7 days will be very difficult for his constituents, Mr Speaker, but I have no doubt that in the same way that Victorians have faced previous challenges, just like this one, as people in New South Wales have, in Queensland and Western Australia even quite recently, Mr Speaker, the same processes that work to protect people on those occasions will work also here, I'm confident. It is true that the Commonwealth has put $500 million into the National Resilience Facility in the Northern Territory, and that is a direct result of the recommendation put forward by the Holton Review to the National Cabinet. It is true that the National Cabinet arrangements that were put in place to support hotel quarantine, Mr Speaker, which I note is a measure that is used in other jurisdictions, including New Zealand,